Look at that, they're making such strong eye contact with each other. Oh, fuck him. It's a shame, he's wearing like a lot, he's just wearing a bunch of my favorite colors. With the exception of like black, but like it's a nice suit. Oh god, I have to sneeze. Just kidding, it went away. Wow, fuck me then. We should have a report within an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short while until this evidence is brought forth. To be hoodwinked by such a farce. Disappointing. I beg your pardon, Lord Vexix. I'm right here. This is nothing but a smokescreen. A Nipponi specialty, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning. That this witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGilded from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place. Exactly. It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such commonplace property. Okay, so I see what my problem is. When he goes to pour the drink, he doesn't look down at the cup. Like, his eyes don't shift down. It just always stays in place, and that's why his eyes look like they're fucking fake. If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGilded perished 2 months ago, immediately after the conclusion of his trial. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established he was the upstanding member of society his reputation implied, in fact. So I propose a toast to my learned friend and his most insightful defense. The articles this upstanding member of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a music box sticks in one of his pockets, and a small box. Oh, you admit that that wasn't your coat then? I assure you, I wouldn't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such a thing to me. What? He just admitted that that coat wasn't his then. You know, that does make a rather lot of sense. It's not as if it was gold or jewels, is it? Though goodness knows Mr. McGilded was rich enough. But you can't deposit cash at a pawnbrokery, I'm quite certain of that. Obviously, what's important is fucking inside the box, and it probably has nothing to do. It's probably not of good value unless you use it in the right context. The prosecution's argument is undeniably compelling. It is incumbent on the defense now to bolster its argument. To explain what possible significance these commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have. Unless, is that box a music box? Is that box a music box? Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstrable? Are you able to show proof that the disc or the box are in an intangible way related to this case? Well,
What's the matter, Runo? We know that they're related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence.
Yes, of course. You and I both know that. We know McGilded's true character, and we know that this is significant, even if we don't know why. But if we explain all that to the court at this point, we'll have to acknowledge that McGilded's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake. That the defense's argument was flawed, based on false information. To be fair, we did try to bring out the truth, but McGilded was all like hoity-toity and the trial, and then the judge was like, okay fam, it's not our fault.
Oh no!
And that would mean admitting that Gina committed perjury. Well, fucking do it then. She did it. It's her fault for that. We're not gonna take her on the murder because she obviously didn't do it, but yeah, that's her fault for committing perjury.
But Ginny...
Could it be that Van Zieks knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he anticipated everything.
But maybe... This could be a great opportunity for us.
Sorry? Oh, what do you mean, Iris?
Well, what is it that you always say, Runo? Sooner or later, the truth comes out. Every time.
Alright, the exact significance of the things that McGilded deposited with Mr. Windibanks is something that only Gina can explain to the court. But if I put her on the stand to testify about that, it could critically damage our chances of winning this case. What's the right thing to do here? Bring her out! I don't care if she gets fucking called for perjury. Let her fucking get a slap on the wrist or go to jail for a couple of days. That's her fault. My lord, the defense would like to make a proposal. Oh, what proposal, counsel? While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGilded's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand. The defendant? To what end? It's to do with the various articles deposited at Windibanks by Mr. McGilded, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. It will prove the significance of the articles in question, once and for all. Well, well, things are becoming interesting. I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. In particular, the impact it will have on the accused's standing, and indeed your own. I have. Lord Van Jeeks, would you care to explain that last remark? The prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear it from the accused herself. I guess you're just gonna ignore me. Fine, if you have no objections. So, the court will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. You witnesses currently in the stand may step down until further notice. Bitch, you fucking adjusted the rim of your hat that's not even on your head. Then I bid you good day. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Miss Lestrade testifies. Haha, fuck you, bitch. As you wish. Alright then, Gina. It's time. I know this will be hard, but please, put your faith in me here.
Good luck, Ryuno.
Before we continue, I'm gonna turn on the lights now. It's time. Alright, lights are on. The articles that Mr. McGilded had deposited in Windibank's pawnbrokery are intimately related with the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in this courtroom 2 months ago. Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well. That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped to establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGilded. The omnibus case was intriguing to say the least. And now, here we are again. The same players in that trial facing each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps. My Nipponese friend. It's not a twist of fate. You only come out here. You only come out to play when I'm here. Allow me to recap the event of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other person in the carriage, Mr. McGilded. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder. But as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged. That the murder in fact took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body there being dropped through the skylight into the carriage below. You know, McGilded was an idiot, because why would you use this fucking embalmed or like this fucking decorative knife to stab him with, and then why would you do it why would you do it on a bus without checking to make sure that there was nobody on it? You know, how were you expecting to get away with it? Stupid. Whatever. I guess the fact that he was planning this for this to happen, this whole using Gina, I don't know. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under a seat in the carriage, and hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. And then, immediately after the trial, having been acquitted of the murder, Mr. McGilded died in this very courtroom, in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on, as indeed does the omnibus murder itself. Weird that as a murder. I recall neither the disc nor the small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings. Miss Lestrade? Would you tell the court now, please, what really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago? I mean.
I don't know what you mean. I already said all I want to know.
Whatever, I don't care. And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Please, Miss Lestrade, this is extremely important.
But...
Remember, little girl, if it transpires that you willfully withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts, you have little credibility to lose.
So mean! So mean! Ginny, don't listen to him! Please, you have to trust Runo now! Iris, we're on your side!
Alright then, I'll talk. Will you really though? It's the right choice, Gina. Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom down about his ears. So be it. I must confess that I'm struggling to understand what on earth is happening here. However, it would appear that Mr. McGilder's pawn articles are in that extraordinary case of the omnibus, harbor secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. So, Miss Lestrade, you will now give your testimony before the court about the events 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, a commodity sorely lacking in your original statements. This is it then. Everything's going to come out. Like Van Ziek said, this could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears, but as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. You can do it, buddy. Gina, don't fuck it up. Come through for us, please. We're trying to save you.
Truth is, that brickmaker cove was in the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over me. Over me head, and that pair on the roof deck went off to call the slops. That's when McGilder slipped the driver some tin to do a run to the pawn shop roundabout. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I seen or heard.
You didn't say anything about the disc on the floor. What about the info about getting the items from the pawnbroker shit? Lord grief, this is outrageous. What you just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago. As you say, my lord. Then there's every chance I may have advocated an error in McGilder's trial. It sounds very much to me as if the man deliberately deceived his court in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes. Without doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial, of this witness, and of my lord friend are entirely inexcusable. I don't believe it. The whole trial was a farce. It was all lies. That McGilder fellow was rotten to the core, just like that pickpocket. Don't forget that lawyer from the east. They were all in it on it together.
You're wrong. The lots of you. Mr. Naruhodo, the lawyer there, didn't know nothing about it.
Humbug!
I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe that?
Oh, he really stitched everyone up, didn't he? What an operation to get the man off scot-free.
Unforgivable. Stop. The lies have to stop. Stop.
Yes, the defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it's imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of McGilder's pawn articles must be brought to light. Very well, my learned student friend. Given the depth of calamity you have just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing. Words fail me. The situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, my lord.
I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial.
Of course, my lord. Blimey, Mr. Naruhodo.
Now, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. All he asks is for a slap on the butt. Also, why is this man's back turned? I just realized.
Truth is, that brickmaker Cole was in the cabin of the omnibus the whole entire time.
And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Miss Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the seats.
Yeah, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all.
Hello? Excuse me? You want to share something? What the fuck? They're not even paying attention. I guess we'll just leave them alone. I almost want to just like go over there and just hit the A and be like, excuse me? What the fuck, dogs? Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, I feel certain that you claim Mr. McGilder was the sole passenger. Did you not? False testimony, my lord.
That's what he told me I had to say.
But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGilder and the victim acquaintances?
I don't know. But I did hear him talking a lot.
What were they talking about?
Well, I couldn't hear too well, but if I had to say, I think it was about money or something. They kept talking about buying and not buying.
Buying? Perhaps business dealings of some kind?
Well, anyway, they got louder and louder. Started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by them. I hardly dared to breathe. And then, all of a sudden, I heard a noise like someone keeling over on the floor. It was blooming loud and all.
And I believe you let out an involuntary scream.
Yeah, that's what gave me away. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor.
Oh, oops, sorry. I didn't mean to. Shut up. Oops, god damn it. Sorry. I kept wanting to go over to the right to look at them again because they're still talking. Was it this you saw this disc? Was it this you saw this disc?
Yeah, I reckon it probably was.
They're still fucking talking. What are you two talking about? I want to interrupt them, but I feel like if I do right now, it's just gonna not do anything. What the fuck, dogs? God damn it. I'm so curious.
It was right next to the cove, lying on the floor.
What does this have belong to the victim, perhaps?
I don't know, but McGilder picked it up pretty smuttish. And then he sat on the cove with the knife in his belly up on the seat.
What did he say to you at the time?
He told me not to say a word about what I seen or heard to no one.
I just realized how fucking bright I am. Can I fix that? I should fix that. Okay, I think we're just gonna stick with this for now. It looks a little bit better. I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Did I read this? I think I read this.
About the disc and all. I was dead scared. The way he was looking at me, I thought, if I didn't go along with him, I'd get stuck with that knife too. Then he started asking me a load of questions. Like what my name was and where I lived and that. He asked me about being a diver too.
But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed.
Yeah, that's right. First there was a kind of rapping noise.
I don't know how to rap. I would have rapped there, but I don't know how to rap, so I just did a really shitty beatbox sound. Oh, sorry. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from my head. There were 2 gentlemen occupying the seats on the roof deck, I believe.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
They must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cove with the knife in his guts.
I forgot about Lady First.
When they screamed, the driver pulled up all the horses and McGilly got me out of sight.
Out of sight? Where?
Back under the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to a halt, the 2 colts from the roof ran off to fetch the slops.
If they immediately left to fetch the police, it would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So they left McGilder, the driver and you still at the scene.
Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside.
The driver, yes. He also testified in the trial, I believe.
Oh yeah, the shaky man.
A fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves.
What did McGilden and the driver say to each other? I don't know what happened, and stuff like that mainly. That's when McGilden slipped the driver some tin to do a run to the pawn shop roundabout. That pawn shop obviously being Windibank's on Baker Street.
Just a moment, Consul. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well?
Perhaps the excursion to the pawnbroker slipped his mind when he was in the stand.
Indeed, Lord Magix.
McGilden took off its coat and gave it to the driver. They're still fucking talking. Hello? Are you guys in cahoots? Is he fucking... Okay. He folded it up all careful-like before handing it over. When I saw him do that, I remember thinking, that coat and what's in it has gotta be worth a few bob. Yes, Gina was sure that this must be worth more than Windibanks was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember her quibbling with him over the price of that afternoon at the pawnbrokery. The driver looked pretty happy when McGilden flashed some brass in his face. He went running off of a lick. Then the bog trotter called to me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard. Threatened you how exactly? Told me I'd only be able to scarper if I did exactly what he said.
Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago?
Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said.
Which was?
He told me I'd have to hang on to the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it.
The ticket? Oh, well, never. Whatever.
Said that if he didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I'd have to go to the pawn shop and pay the money to keep it in lug, to stop it being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it.
Well, but really, why on earth would Mr. McGilden have done such a thing? Depositing his overcoat with the pawnbroker before the arrival of the police. It makes no sense at all.
There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What McGilden had the driver deposit at Windibank's was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs. Anyway, after that, he let me go, so I legged it before the coppers showed up. Well done, Gina. It can't have been easy to tell the truth like that. Jeannie's really putting her faith in you, Runo. Yes, and to thank her, she'll have to face a charge of perjury once this trial's over. So I need to use the time we have now to get as much information out of her as possible. It's time to really go for it. Press on every statement. I suppose I should. Oh, and another thing. What's that?
Yes, I know.
Take a look at those two. Isn't it strange that they've been whispering to each other the entire time? Yes, that is strange. It looks like they're having a secret discussion about something. I'm not sure I'm completely comfortable with that. I wonder if there's anything I can do about it.
I have to press everything again? I was thinking like maybe at the last sentence I would just go over to them and be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? But let's see. Let's see if anything changes. You know what? I'm starting to think that I don't have to press everything. I think what I'll do is... Oh wait. No, why am I still pressing? If I said I'm not gonna press everything. I'm gonna go... Is there a statement that seems more plausible to... Go back to Gina. Okay, thank you. Can I just... Hello, you two? Is there something you'd like to share with the court, Inspector Gregson and Mr. Graydon? Inspector! Mr. Graydon! Oh, blimey! You're trying to give me a heart attack! What was his voice? Mario, you're trying to give me a heart attack! Okay, I guess it was. I guess it just didn't matter what statement you, as long as you just fucking pinch them, not pinch them, poke them. You have been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about? Discussion. What this fella? Pull the other one, Sunshine. You think I got anything to talk about with a shady gent like this?
And I have nothing to. What was his voice? I have nothing to say to this uncouth gentleman after he deprived me of the disc that was rightfully mine. But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. It's as if they've been negotiating.
Thank you, Mr. Stark. Thank you, Counsel. I've heard enough. I believe we now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus. It would appear on that night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. A negotiation concerning this disc. However, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, Mr. McGilda took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life.
Which proves my point, that this is clearly extremely valuable in some way.
Although I don't understand why as yet. And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, McGilda's coat and its contents were due to be forfeited.
I didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I mean, the cove died right after its trial. I knew that.
So you decided you would try to claim the articles as your own?
Well, why not, eh? They were only going to be forfeited. Why shouldn't I have got them? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime.
Mr. Stark, it would appear Mr. McGilda was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be?
I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. He was probably gonna sell it. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime.
My lord! Whoa, Jesus. You can't startle the judge like that. The evidence your lordship requires has been located and is ready for the court to smash to start. Give me the box! Is it a music box? It looked like a music box. The mysterious little box, deposited by McGilda 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that it's a key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. Don't be to be continued. We're going. We're keeping on. I want to see the box. I want to see it. Is it a music box that I think it is? Like I think it is? Come on, come on, come on. Yes. Let's fucking go. Okay. Oh, it's a lot longer than I thought. So this is the article in question, is it? A small box deposited with a pawnbroker by Mr. McGilda 2 months ago. And on the night of Mr. Windibank's murder, the only item on the shelf that was touched by whoever broke into the shop.
Quick, let's open it and see what's inside.
Looks like a music box. Oh gracious, this is no ordinary box, it seems. Wow, although in truth, I had an inkling that might be the case. It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement. Then, is it too much to expect? I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is a device for the playback of this disc, my lord. Let's listen to it, let's hear it, let's hear the fucking sick beats that's gonna come out of this disc. So, here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilda's disc, deposited at Windibank's at much the same time. Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilda's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus. But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to McGilda? Excuse me, sir. I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord. You have to pull off the sticker on it? Very well. Let the court now listen to this curious disc at last. Mario, oh, wait, my lord. Oh no, he's gonna stop us. Good grief, what is the meaning of this, Inspector? The music box and the disc are unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music. Oh my gosh. This disc may very well have motivated the culprit in this case to commit murder. Clearly, there's every chance that it's fundamentally important to understanding what's happened. The prosecution has no objections. But no! That piece of evidence is police property! Now, you can't! Clearly, Scotland Yard has some vested interest here. But it is policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. Ah! Why? What is it? What could it possibly be? Is it an audio recording? It must be like an audio recording of some really fucked up shit that's being said on it or something. It has to be. No further delay, please. Play the disc. We got video, we got things that take pictures. It must be an audio recording. You gonna leave the note thing on there? Won't it fuck up the... I really expected it to be all... For some reason, I keep forgetting that this disc has protrusions and it's not like a vinyl that has like lines on it. But is this like Morse code or something? What on earth? Certainly not what I would call music. It must be like code. No. It's just the same note playing over and over again in an irregular sequence. Mr. Brayden? This really is priceless. Ooh, I'm dancing. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom. Sabotage! Oh my god! I'm sorry. Well, with much regret, I fear the court must accept that this music box offers little in the way of clues. We need Holmes. Sherlock, it's your time to come out. Assuming that you're awake, I don't know if you're awake. Are you ready to move on, Counsel? Come on. Yes, alright. It does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? No, Morse code, there's music emanating from the music box. Possibly be a new clue. It could be a clue. We need the fucking beepity beep 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 lady to fucking translate it. She must know it. I believe that it could be relevant, my lord. She needs to speak out. Good lord, but how can it be? It's an abomination, Counsel. Mere noise. I fail to see how it could have any meaning whatsoever. It does sound strange, I believe. I mean, I agree. But there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there, chortling victoriously. The inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as he is familiar with it somehow. And that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my knee pony's front. Answer me this. Oh! Ding 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 ding. Just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has on this case? It's the defense's belief that the sound emanating from this music box is... Just because this is a music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here. I must be.
Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Herlock, Ryunosuke.
I miss him. The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told us what they are not, I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponi's friend. Well, surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be the death of your ill-formed argument. What, like you don't know what it is? Come on, Vansies, I know you're smarter than that. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness. They've got me. I don't know what the answer is, yet.
Luno, I've just examined the music box very thoroughly. And I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all.
Is that in an inventory? No, it's not. I wanted to examine it.
Really? Really? The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway.
Thank you, Iris. A specially made music box to just produce one note for the sake of sending a message. Damn, damn, damn. I keep thinking he wants to play Jingle Bells. Alright, well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sound it's producing have some significance that isn't musical. Could it be? Is that what these sounds are?
Something's just struck me, Runo. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like this one in the music box makes.
Yes, the little fucking lady going da-da-da-da-da-da. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing. I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, Counsel? All the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now. The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponese friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation. Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back on this trial. And if I'm right, it's going to join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sound on this music box disc is... What? What do I present here? Not that. I thought I could present a person, but I can't. Ministry mole, classified leaked ministry judge for a 10-year-old Irish certainly it's about the secret communication between apparently they're being intercepted by hostile nations. Communications are being intercepted. That's the question, isn't it? Come up message. Are you looking for a new career? No, of course not. I wonder. Perhaps this is what Armstrong was talking about yesterday. Yes, it could be, as it could explain why he has Greg running from pillar to post at the moment. Am I supposed to present that? Because there's nothing that would let me to point to the juror that's on the stand right now that's doing the Today's paper, Counsel. Headline is Pawnbroker perishes in pig purse plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause. No, my lord. I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page. Further down. Ministry mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter being investigated at the highest level, I understand. I have heard that international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. Oh, that's why Gregsy doesn't want. Okay, I get it. Gregson, I mean, sorry. I get it. Presumably. Actually, I technically got it like when we were examining a thing, but I just felt like saying it right now. I'm a fucking liar. Presumably, those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams? Of course. Juror number 5, your input, please. Stop. Oh, me, sir? Whatever is the matter? You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. In the particular station where you worked, deals with government communications and newspaper reports? Oh yes, we're not a run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound? You don't mean to say, is it? That's right, madame. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. Is that Morse code? Maybe it's not Morse code. Maybe it's something else. Oh, just kidding. It is Morse code. I was like doubting myself the entire time. I was like, is it Morse code? I keep calling it Morse code, but I don't know. All right. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it. Now correct me if I'm wrong. But when it comes to leaking telegrams from government department. There could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? Cause that just how long could that possibly be though? Probably just says something short like President is a dick sucker or something. There's nothing wrong with being a dick sucker, but like, you know, back in the old days. Order! Order! Please everyone, order! But this is high treason, council! Deserving of capital punishment! Oh, too much new vocabulary. What is this treason? And what is capital punishment? Oh wait, he's a Russian. He shouldn't be here listening to this. Those sort of words I'd have expected you to know. For sovereign governments of confidential information, hostile nations will surely pay almost any price. Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. But in the end, McGill perished, and the all-important disc laid unclaimed in the pawnbrokery. My word! In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry. Because if the disc were to be discovered before it found its way out of the country, it would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it. And in order to do that, he would have had to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night. Because the articles left behind by McGilded would incriminate him too much if he got in the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? Yo, you a traitor. You a traitor. You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. So, in response to the defense's accusations, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do. I've had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away. Come on, stand by me, Zeeks. Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. Come through, Zeeks. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense. Delighted, I'm sure. The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in the trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Winnebank. That being a most flagitious offense for which the law of those lands sanctions a capital punishment. But heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind and to testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us proceed. Gregson! Oh, you're not Gregson, what?
You gotta let someone wrap it in the pocket and golf now. We've got things to say. Why? Shut up!
Oh, I beg your pardon. Who do you think you are?
Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is professional baddie.
Name's Wrinkle Skulkin, but we ain't baddies enough to sell out our motherland.
That's right. We're what they call. What are they doing? The three Skulkin brothers. What's happening? Stop it! Shut up!
Don't do it, Gregson.
Bad timing, fellas. You're very bad timing.